Hi guys, my name is Annabelle from Horizon Cosplay, and today we're going to be looking at my Kyoshi Warrior costume and how I made it. Now, I just want to quickly address the fact that I know a lot of photos of me wearing this costume don't feature me wearing the makeup. Yes, I do know Kyoshi Warriors do have makeup, and I'm not against wearing it at all. In fact, I rather like it. However, I didn't wear the makeup on the 2 days we had most of these photos taken for two reasons. The first day we had lots of these photos taken was the last day of Auckland Armageddon. We had to check out of our Airbnb, and a pipe down the road had burst, meaning that the whole B&B had no water. Considering that my face paint is a dry one that I need to add water to and able to put it on my skin, I just thought that using some of what little water we had to put makeup on was not the priority that day, so I just decided to leave it off. The second time was our awesome and incredible photo shoot with the amazing Stephen Neff in the New Zealand redwoods. Although you can't see it in the pictures, it was actually kind of raining for a lot of that, and because I'm quite a cheap person, I hadn't brought the best face paint. Not wanting the paint to run down my face and ruin the costume I'd spent so many hours making, I decided to just chuck some powder on my face to even out my sunburn and roll with that. So anyway, why did I choose a Kyoshi Warrior as the first cosplay I ever made for myself?
You mean I need a better reason besides the fact they're a bunch of amazing kick-ass women?
Well, no, but just in case you were wondering, here's a few other good excuses. Firstly was that Ben was attending Auckland Armageddon as a Dai Lee agent, and how cute would it be if our first cosplays could work as a couple? Also, you can see the cosplay breakdown of his video right here, or it'll be at the end screen of this video. The second reason is that I overbought green fabric by about 5 meters, per color. Yeah, honestly, it's been nearly 3 years and I'm still using up that fabric. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've used that fabric for at least 3 cosplays now, including my Hannah Alexander Poison Ivy costume I'm currently working from, my DC Superheroes Girls Poison Ivy costume, and my Frozen Fever Anna dress, not to mention there's one other costume I'm working on in a kinda secret at the moment that I'm not going to mention just yet, which also features some of the green fabric, which hopefully will be the last of it.
Touch wood.
And 3, I just wanted an excuse to buy new fancy hairpins, because I like those. All the various green fabrics I used in this costume were Cottonelle. The gold was a quilting cotton, and the black is a stitched leather, which is actually super cool, something that I also have quite a bit left over from after buying it for a project that ended up getting cancelled later on. Like Ben's Dai Lee costume, this one was also very hot to wear. In fact, I'd say this one was a lot hotter than his. However, I don't regret making it out of cotton, as considering I was still quite new to sewing at this point, I think it was a good and easy material to work with and definitely a beginner-friendly fabric to use. I started this costume by making a pair of samurai trousers using the Cools 7525. The same pattern that I used for Ben's Dai Lee trousers. I did do mine in a smaller size than Ben's, and I also didn't include any pockets, as I didn't think I'd want to use them. I don't really like having the feeling of things banging against my legs quite loosely. It's a bit of a different story if I'm wearing tight jeans, but I just couldn't see the pockets being comfortable or being used, so I decided to forego them. I also made sure to quilt the waistbands differently so that I could easily tell mine and Ben's trousers apart. After all, I don't need him accidentally putting on my pair and me his, and though he might squeeze into mine on a good day, his are going to be too big for me no matter what day it is. However, these trousers were again hemmed in a hurry, though they did turn out way better than Ben's, simply because at least for these, I had a little bit more time to do them, but doing the hemming around those pleats was just a total nightmare, and though I think I could definitely handle it now, I really do want to redo the hem at some point, it's just not at the top of my list of things to do. The green undershirt was designed by me and not based on any existing pieces of clothing I already had. I did do several mock-ups this time, which is a massive improvement to my last costume, and thank God I did, because it went wrong so many times that had I not done those mock-ups, I would have wasted a lot of expensive green fabric. I appliqued the sleeves before attaching them to the main body of the dress. To make it as different from the Dai Lee outfit as possible, rather than using a thread fading through different shades of gold, I used a thread fading through different shades of green. I also thought that considering that the Kyoshi Warriors are from an island, this made more sense that they maybe wouldn't have access to as much of the gold stuff that people on the mainland probably did. In the end, I was really pleased with the look of how the Dai Lee and the Kyoshi Warriors stood together, though at the same time I was very glad that they were different enough they could easily stand on their own if necessary. I got very lucky, and while going through a local charity shop I found these gold style buttons. I'm pretty sure there's a proper name for them, but whatever it is escaping my brain right now, so let me know in the comments down below if you can remember what they're called. Each one was placed and hand stitched on. They do work like I wanted them to, however I do wish that I'd put a hook and eye closure at a few select spots just to help hold the shirt in place, and maybe even a hook and eye closure to keep the bodice up in place. As I wasn't great at drafting it at the time, it does have a tendency to slip down. Talking of the bodice, or the outer armour, this was something at the time I was extremely proud of, though right this second I'm just kind of shaking my head at it because oh my god, I did so much wrong. It was made using this incredible looking stitched leather, which I still have quite a bit of, and if you guys have any ideas what I could use it for, please leave me a suggestion in the comments down below. The leather then had grey iron-on interfacing put on the inside of it. Because the stitch leather was partially see-through in places, I wanted to use a slightly lighter colour than black to highlight the pattern that you can see in it. After all, why spend all that money on this very nice decorative leather if it all kind of fades into one thing? I then lined the armour in a nice black cotton deal. My original plan was to make it out of lots and lots of small panels, kind of like how traditional samurai armour was made. However, this quickly flew out the window when I realised my skills just weren't up to the task at that time, and I ended up using bigger panels instead. I connected each panel together using a satin stitch and nothing else, which means the armour isn't really that strong. I did originally put a zipper in the back of the armour, however, after using it just once or twice, it just totally broke, and so with not long till the convention left to go, I panicked a little bit and did what I could. What I could do was use my buttonhole foot to put holes in the back of the corset, kind of to act like grommets was my initial idea, and it worked! I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it looks amazing, but it worked. And because it was the only thing I had left in green and not wanting to cut up any more of the unused fabric, I decided to use the leftover bias binding to lace it up. I didn't even stitch it down, it's just raw bias binding. Like, wow, I used to cut a lot of corners. Anyway, because of all this, it ended up being kind of like a corset, though it definitely doesn't quite have the corset shape I would want if I were to make it again these days. And after getting to the convention and wearing it for several hours straight, I found what is probably an actually quite big problem with this costume, which is that the outer armour just tends to slip down past my boobs regularly, no matter how tight the back of it is done up. I have a few solutions with which I could fix this, though to be honest, I would sooner just make the whole outer armour again because I'm actually really not happy with how it looks anymore. I definitely think I could do better if I remade it now, however, I don't currently have the motivation to go back and work on an old project. I want to keep making new stuff for a little while. Though definitely my theory for the future is that I will probably add some Velcro or maybe even some hooks and eyes to help hold it in place, because I'm pretty sure one of the reasons it was slipping down was that it was on top of quite a smooth cotton shirt, because I wore it for quite a long time during the day when I was checking whether or not it fit, and I didn't have the undershirt on underneath, and it stayed up fine for the whole time I was doing all this stuff around the house. When it comes to accessories, I made the gauntlets from leftover squares of the armour. I was originally going to put a third armour panel right at the back, but decided not to after I'd had to add the lace up instead. In hindsight, squares are not the best shape to use when you're wanting gauntlets, but at least I wasn't wasting anything. I appliqued the circles on and then thread painted the symbols onto the circles. I do wish I'd either hand sewn or at least gone over those symbols a few more times, as I just found they're not really that visible. Maybe using a solid colour, darker shade of green thread would have been a good idea as well. And although I tried Google, I couldn't actually find what these symbols mean, something that I'd be really interested in finding out if any of you know. I also then made the headpiece, and honestly, I didn't like it at the time, and I don't like it now. Actually, the only reason I left it as it was at the time was because I honestly just couldn't figure out how to do it any better with the supplies I had. I have a few ideas how to improve it, and again, when I eventually come to remaking this, which I'm sure I'm going to do at some point, we'll see how much I upgrade it. But at least the headpiece as well was also made from scraps, which again means I didn't waste anything. I also brought some accessories, including these absolutely stunning earrings. I've worn these plenty of times, both in and out of cosplay, because they really are just that nice. I even brought two different styles, as when I was looking online, I couldn't decide which one I wanted more. I brought one with a long chain that dangled off the ear, and one with just the bead that hung just underneath the ear. In the end, I went with the one with the long chain for my costume, though I definitely do the shorter ones for more day-to-day use. I also decided to get these stunning fans, which normally get stored in my belt while I walk around conventions, something that it does effectively very well. Actually, on a side note here, the belt is literally just a long rectangle of green dill fabric. Nothing that special, and I just tie it with a nice knot on one side of my hip. Anyway, back to the fans. Though in the animated series the fans are plain gold, I decided to go with ones with slight pattern on. I did this because I felt like if the Kyoshi Warriors were real, they would probably want to decorate their weapons to help show their personality. And as fan painting is an artistic endeavour well known in China, I didn't think this was too out of character for them. These fans were also supposed to be proper Chinese dancing fans, meaning that they should open and close easily. Or at least that was the idea. To be honest, they do open really well, but they do struggle to close. But I guess that's what you get when you order from AliExpress. However, considering the price of them and the fact that I feel they are very good quality, I can't complain about them at all. Definitely very happy both with how they look and how they act. The last thing I brought for the cosplay were these hairpins. As I mentioned before, I have a bit of a thing for hairpins and do tend to wear them quite a lot outside of cosplay. Knowing that I only needed 2 for the cosplay, but thinking I might want to change it up from occasion, I decided to order 4 of them. At the time I was wearing hairpins hairpins every day in day-to-day life, and to be honest, I should probably go back to that because I kind of miss it. However, these ones are so beautiful, and though they're pretty sturdy, I also don't want to break them. What would I do different next time? Firstly, the fabric. They specifically say in the TV series that the kimonos are made of silk, so though cotton was great for a first try, I don't think it's going to cut the grade next time I go to make a Kyoshi Warrior costume. Second is that I do the headpiece better, like a lot better, and the armor of course is going to get a total redesign. To be honest, next time I go to do a Kyoshi Warrior, it's very likely to be the Hannah Alexander version of Suki, which is going to mean upgrading my skills quite a lot. It's also probably going to be quite an expensive project because, like I said, I want to make that kimono out of silk, and silk's expensive. This was the first cosplay I ever wore to a convention, and honestly, me and Ben just had such a great day. We could barely walk 10 steps without getting stopped for photos. We even got asked to do an interview, and other Avatar cosplayers kept pulling us to one side or another so that we could all get group shots. It was actually amazing. Yaya Han was even in attendance at the convention we were attending, and she complimented my costume, which, oh my gosh, fangirl moment if nothing else. The whole weekend was incredibly amazing. In fact, it was one of the best weekends I think I've ever had in my life, and I definitely put that down to my 2 Earth Kingdom cosplays. So thank you guys for watching, and please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with my current projects and to see more cosplay breakdowns of all my old costumes that I've made before I had a YouTube channel. Also remember to like this video if you love Avatar: The Last Airbender as much as I do, and remember that the PDF pattern download for the Dai Lee outfit is currently available on my Etsy shop. The link is in the description down below. Otherwise guys, have a beautiful day, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye!